Okay, ji, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's recap our yesterday's lecture. And our yesterday lecture was about the research design. So this diagram is telling everything about the research design. Starting from the problem statement, when you define a problem, you need to identify the method through which you solve the problem. And designing tells you what is the method. Method start from the research strategies. Strategies include the experiments. Experiment, that is causal experiments. Remember, causal experiment. When we talk about the smoking causes cancer. Smoking causes cancer. One of the example of the experiment. Survey research is the research which is used for the hypothesis testing, correlational analysis. So in that we try to find out the association, the relationship between the variables. So like, is smoking and cancer, are smoking and cancer related? Is there association between the smoking and the cancer? So basically the survey research strategy is for this kind of research questions. When we talk about the observation, it is the way we collect the data in the inductive reasoning. In the inductive reasoning, when we go with the qualitative research, we collect the data through the observation. So in the observation strategy, we observe from the environment, we observe the behavior of the people, action of the people. So this strategy applies over there. And case study, as we already discussed, case study is the one through which you understand the organization, the event, something which has already been happened. So you try to understand the particular industry, particular company, or the event which has happened. So case study strategy is applied over there. And grounded theory is the strategy through which you develop the theory, like a Maslow hierarchy of needs, like technology acceptance model, like theory of planned behavior. So when you want to develop a theory, you start with the grounded theory. So these are the strategies you follow while you design your research. Other one is the action research. Action research is basically the strategy applies on the organization problem. It is basically usually applied on the applied problem, applied research. You may say practical problem, the problem which company is facing. So to understand the problem or to solve that problem which company is facing, you go for the action research. And action research is iterative. When you solve the problem, you keep evaluate and you again do the action research and then you improve. So you basically you find out the solution of the problem, and with the solution you evaluate, and if the problem remains, then you again do a research. The action research is the practical research which solves the problem of a particular company, particular organization. So when we talk about mixed method is the last strategy. Mixed method is a method which is used in these studies, which uses the qualitative and quantitative method both. Mixed means qualitative and quantitative both. So when we talk about the qualitative and quantitative, it means it can use the survey and the observation as well. Okay, it can use the for example, in the case studies, you can use the mixed method approach. So mixed method is the method through which when you go quantitative and the qualitative as well. When we talk about the qualitative, we talk about finding the data, collecting the data through interview, through observation. And when we talk about the quantitative, we talk about collecting the data through questionnaire. So basically, we present the data in mixed method so that we are sure about the data and the variables. For example, if you want to know exact about the event, what would you do? You ask different people about the same event, from the neighbor, from the wife, from the children, from the friends, about the same incident. So basically you try to try to be sure by collecting data in different methods. So when we talk about the different methods, it means we try to strongly collect the data. So mixed method is basically a better approach, and it is nowadays it is widely used. So basically these are the strategies which we did not talk about in the last lecture, and the other one is the purpose of the study, that is the exploration, description, and a hypothesis testing. When we talk about the exploration, it is the idea, purpose of the study is exploration. It means you are exploring the topic which has never been explored before, like monkeypox. So yeah, no one has worked upon the monkeypox so much before. Okay? Or the coronavirus in at the time when the coronavirus started spreading across the world. So the research started more and more. So exploring the idea that is. And when we talk about the description, it is, I just gave you example in the last class. You want to know more about the client, the customer. For example, there are many customers who have not paid for your services yet. So your boss will say, go and take the profile of all the customer who has not paid us up till yet, or up till 6 months they have not paid us yet. So take out the profile of them. So profile means everything about them. That how much have they done business with us, how long they have been doing business with us, and what is the industry, what is the sector of them. So the details about them. So you see, when we talk about the descriptive research, it is the data about the particular variable to understand it more. Other one is the hypothesis testing, in which we talk about the correlational study, we talk about the causal study, we talk about the correlational study, in which we talk about what is the impact of over the sales by investing on advertising more. So that's how investment on the advertisement and sales, the change in the sales and investment in advertisement. So you want to see the change in the sales due to the advertisement. Okay? Or if you have changed the packaging of your product, so you want to see the change in the sales. So that is called the hypothesis testing, in which you want to understand. Any questions so far? Anything which is not clear? Okay. So then we talk about the type of investigation, in which we talk about the correlational study, causal study, and group differences. We already discussed about it. When we talk about the group differences, I already mentioned in the last class. The group differences are when we want to know that how the groups are different. How the groups are different. For example, I gave you the example that how a woman is better than the men, or how men is better than women. So on what characteristics? So this is when we talk about the group. How many classes are better than the other classes, and is this class is better than the other classes? So basically you try to learn about the groups. This is also type of investigation. And we talk about the extent of research interference, that is the minimal and the manipulation. So when we talk about the minimal extent of research interference, it means you don't interfere at all. You go the way it is. You don't interfere. Interfere means you don't interfere on the events that are occurring. You don't manipulate the characteristic of a variable as well. Okay, when we talk about the manipulation, it means you are changing it. You are changing to a great extent. In the last class, what example I gave you? I gave you about the account, the bank account, saving. You want to know about the saving of the customers. So what you did nothing. You were just in the correlational study, in the minimal interference, you did not change anything. You were just observing that what is the behavior of the customers saving when the interest rate is changed. So when we say we are manipulating or when we are interfering, it means we change the interest rate of different branches, and then we are seeing what is the saving pattern of the customers. Okay?
You also gave the example of the population centers that
Yes.
and land
Yes.
start helping to the interest.
Exactly. So in the study setting, it is contrive or non-contrive. When we talk about the contrive or the non-contrive. So when we talk about the contrive means the artificial. and the non-contrive means non-artificial. When we talk about the artificial, it means we influence the environment, we influence the normal flow of work. For example, if I try to artificially get the data from this class, I will ask other students to be this class student who have a very good GPA. So I select few students only. When I select the few students on the basis of their GPA and I start teaching them, and then I try to evaluate the learning of them. So that is the artificial environment. Because what I did not take the data from the common students. I have selected students. I selected few students who had a good GPA or some particular characteristic. Then I evaluated their performance. So that's how you create the artificial environment in which you completely influence and change the environment. Okay? Or might be I change the environment of a class in any sense. That is also part. And when we say non-contrive, it means there is no influence. Like if I collect the data from this class, that is non-contrive. Okay? So the study setting is non-contrive when it means it is a natural environment. There is no as such change in the environment. Okay. Then we talk about the unit of analysis. We talked about the individual, dyad, group, organization, machines. So they are different from the different sources you collect the data. Either you from the individual, from the dyad. Dyad means from the group of two, you collect the data like boss, subordinate, parents, children, teacher, student. That's how you collect the data. So you see, dyad is that. And groups, when we talk about the different functions of an organization, like HR, like sales, accounts, taxation, so there are different departments. We collect the data from them. Different organizations, different machines that we have. Other than the time horizon is the time period in which we collect the data. We collect the data in multiple time period, or we collect the data once. When we collect the data once, it is a cross-sectional study. When we collect the data twice, thrice, or multiple times, it is called longitudinal study. So I think we have covered almost everything, except few which I want to add more. Like the measurement is also part of the research design. When you go for the thesis, when you go for the research paper, you have to define the measurement as well. Measurement is what? The items. For example, you are having the research. Your research strategy is survey, okay, and you are hypothesis testing, correlational study. So in that study, what you would be doing? You would be collecting data through questionnaire, survey. So in the questionnaire, you ask questions through the items. Items are basically represent the variables. So what you do? You have to present from where you have got the variables. From where have you got the variables? Variables can be adopted or adapted. Write it down. Items can be adopted or adapted. Adopted is completely you copy the items. You copy as it is. And when we say adapted, it means you are minor changes. You are making minor changes. So when you make minor changes and then you collect the data, that is called adaptation. Okay? So either you adopt or adapt. So in both manner you can collect the data, but you need to mention that from whom you have adapted or adopted. From which research paper, from which researchers you have adopted and adapted. This is very important. And you also have to tell what is the scale. You collect the data, strongly disagree, agree, etc. And you also need to tell what is the sampling design. Are you going through the scientific method or non-scientific method? Scientific method is through the probability sampling, where the mathematics comes, probability sampling. And the other way is non-probability sampling. When there is no mathematics, you collect the data through your convenience or through your own instinct. Okay? Purpose. With the purpose you collect the data. There are multiple. This is not our topic of discussion, sampling, but I am just telling you that this is part of the research design. This is another chapter which I might be teaching you as per our time allows us, but it is part of the research design. So in the data collection method, you tell either you are going with the survey or interview, observation, archives. So how you are collecting the data. Data collection method you also have to define in the research design. So in the research design you define all these things. Any question? We are done with this topic again. Anything which is unclear? Okay. So I gave you